Welcome back to our second podcast called Anything is Possible in March. Today we have a special guest, and Julie will introduce him.
We have the Richmond Little League head of All-Star Committee, former UVA pitcher, and he works for sports marketing for VCU, and he's the voice of the Rams, Robbie Robinson.
Guys, this is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you thinking of me. This is really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with my favorite division, the A10, with the red hot 10 wins in a row VCU Rams. Right behind them, Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just hop right into it.
Yeah. Wow. A10 is, I think, over the past 5 years, the A10 has really brought their name into consideration of one of the bigger conferences. VCU has been a really good program. They've obviously kind of put themselves on the spotlight since they went to the Final Four with Shaka Smart.
Yes.
Then Shaka left, and then Will Wade came just to, and then he did a pretty good job with the program. But I think Mike Rose coming back.
He's amazing.
He's an amazing coach. The first season was a little tough because he dealt with a lot of injuries, but I think he's put VCU back on the map, the program.
So I've got a question for you. What do you think about VCU being a 7 seed if the tournament was today?
Wow. So if the tournament was today, would VCU be a 7 seed? Knox, that is, I think that would be a little bit of a stretch. I just think I would love it. I'd be great. I mean, I'd be all for it. So if you were to tell me that they are a 7 seed playing a 10 seed.
Yes, they're projected.
Is that the latest? I mean,
Yes,
I looked at it. Who's
right,
got them as a 7 seed?
So right now,
Sports
CBS
Oh, that's
Sports
Jerry
has
Palm.
them- Yeah.
Okay.
So CBS Sports has them in the West bracket with Gonzaga, LSU as a 2 seed, and they have them in the Midwest with Tennessee, North Carolina, and currently they're a 7 seed projected to play Oklahoma.
So a 7-10 game. VCU's the 7 and Oklahoma's the 10.
Yes.
And that's what Jerry Palm. Now, you guys know why Jerry Palm is very important to VCU. Do you guys know that?
Did he go to VCU?
He did not. That's a good. So in 2011, remember that year? That was the Final Four year that you just talked about. 2011, the weekend of the selection show. And keep in mind, the Rams season had already been over because we were in the CAA, so we had lost that Monday night to Old Dominion.
Yep.
Well, that weekend, none of us thought we were going to get in the tournament. It just wasn't. It just wasn't on our radar. It wasn't on our radar screen. Shaka didn't even have the guys together watching the selection show, which they normally do. Like, they're all over in different places.
Yeah, right.
But Jerry Palm said the entire weekend, you got to keep looking at the numbers. He felt VCU was going to get in. And as it turns out, Jerry Palm was the only one that was right that said VCU was in. And of course, that was in 2011, and we all know what happened then. So if Jerry Palm says right now that we're a 7 seed, I will take that.
And he also says, CBS Sports said that if they win the A10 tournament, they would be a 6 seed.
So that's probably if we win the rest of our games.
Yes.
And we go ahead and win. I mean, how incredible would that be to be a 6 seed? I think if the Rams win the rest of their games, they would, let's see, right now we have 23 wins. That would be 5 more. That'd be 28 wins.
That'd be,
28
man,
and 6.
I would almost say if we win the rest of our games, I think a 6 seed would be almost a slight. I would say if we're 28-6 going into the NCAA tournament, I would make the argument we should be a 5 seed, but I would take a 6 seed, and like you said, Knox, if it was in today, a 7 seed probably deserved, right?
Yeah, Ken Palm has he does the offensive and defensive numbers. He has VCU currently as the 42nd team in the country with their offense at one ranking.
Is that refreshed?
Yes, it's refreshed from today actually. So
Interesting.
he has them as ranked in offense as 179, but in defense has them at 7.
So 7th best defense team in the country.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what they were banking on.
Yeah.
Points allowed is 62. That's 12th best in the country.
Yeah.
And guys, that is 13 fewer points than what we allowed last year. Last year we averaged 70. Their teams were scoring 75 points per game, which is a lot. It was not a good year. It was not a good defense, but 13 points. What's UVA? UVA is like it.
They've got to be
They're
first.
first.
They're first.
Actually,
It's like 54.
Is that what it is?
Is averaging UVA is so currently so right now Virginia is first place for Ken Palm with 2nd on offense and 2nd in defense, but number 1 in defense is Texas Tech. They're holding their opponents to 51 points per game.
That's amazing. That's 10 points less than
VCU. They held Shaka in Texas last night to 51 points with Texas Tech winning 70-51 at Texas Tech.
So
they're good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk to you about how the VCU Rams played in the first part of the season against, I would say, a rival against Virginia and only lost by 8 points.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you guys probably watch it. That's about as tough of a game as UVA's had, other than
Yeah.
Duke and maybe that North Carolina game, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Notre Dame. Julie, you've seen a ton of Virginia basketball.
Yeah.
What team has gone into Charlottesville and played them as tough as VCU did that day in December? Not a whole lot.
I've seen Notre Dame do it like
Yeah,
last
Notre Dame.
year.
Yeah, I
And
was
Duke.
at that
Yeah.
game.
Other
I'm
than
a-
that, there's not really ever been.
Yeah.
So, do you think Davidson has any chance of making it into the NCAA tournament if they make it to the finals of the A10 tournament but lose to VCU?
All right, so Knox, you're saying Davidson makes it to let's say they win the rest of their games.
Yes.
They're 21-8 right now. They've got 2 games remaining. They're 23-8 going to the tournament. They're 26. They'd be 25-8 and lose to VCU. They'd be 25-9. I don't think they get in. They don't have any good wins.
They
Yeah,
really
I don't. Like, if you look at their schedule,
They lost to Purdue
yeah,
by a lot.
And they lost to Purdue by 21.
They lost to Wake Forest.
They lost to Temple, a team that VCU beat. Wake Forest
Yeah.
is not very good.
Yeah,
Wake Forest is. U of R beat Wake Forest. Come
Yeah,
on.
and they lost to and they had a chance against North Carolina, but they lost that game by 22.
Yeah.
And their wins are, they beat Charlotte and they beat Northeastern a couple times.
They
They
So,
did
yeah.
beat VCU.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did, but I don't
That
know.
wasn't at home, though.
Yeah, it was a home game, and I just, as great as VCU is, I don't think that is enough that you can hang
Isn't
a
that
resume
tier
on.
one win?
Probably it is. It's a
quad
tier
one win.
quad. It's a quad 1 win, but I don't. It's a like kind of a deep quad 1 win.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
a
it's
20th
lower.
or you need because VCU only has 1, but that was beating Texas on the road. Beating VCU at home.
They
is,
also beat Temple. That's a tier 1, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was a tier 1 at the time.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
They beat some good teams.
This is the Rams.
Yes.
Yeah. VCU beat Temple. They beat Texas. At the time, I thought College of Charleston was really good. They have not played as well in the conference as I thought they would. But the great thing about with VCU is you look at what other teams are doing that they've played, and they're doing really well. Like Ryder's having a good year. Hofstra's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, but VCU, they put Ryder in its place at home.
Mm-hmm. But those teams have had good years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think that's helping them in the net rankings.
I think one other thing is just I think one other interesting team to talk about is University of Richmond. Wow, they started off the season interesting. They had an interesting start, but they lost one of their star players, and Nick Sherrod, and they did lose to Monte Buckingham, which is just sad. But Jacob Gilliard, wow, he has really brought that team to life.
Half a year. And also Rhode Island, they were ranked. I wouldn't like to say this, but they crushed us in stats last year.
Sure.
In the final game. But this year they're just not doing as well. They're 7 games behind. They lost to College of Charleston in their second game they lost by 11, and they beat Harvard by 2, which isn't a great win.
Yeah, but they
don't have many quad 1 wins.
Yeah, but still, you have to count that win against. You still have to count that win against Wake because it is an ACC team, but it isn't that much. But Richmond's back in action tomorrow night against UMass at UMass, so that'll be an interesting game. See if they can bring it up, and obviously they end off at against Davidson at home.
Yes.
So Davidson's got to go to the Robins Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not going to be an easy game for Davidson.
No,
Yeah.
At all.
And
The Rams barely got out of there on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think that's also because they're rivals.
It is. No, and I think, Richmond's definitely geared up for that game, and their fan base was geared up for that game. But I think, they have a little bit of a rivalry, too, with Davidson. They're kind of similar schools. They're both private schools. They're not really big.
Yeah.
They both have very good basketball programs, overall.
Yes.
They've had a lot of history. So I think, I would not count out the Spiders. I'm telling you guys, I don't know if I really want to play them in the A10 tournament. Gilliard's really good.
Yeah, he's really
and
good.
so is KO. He's good, and Golden didn't play great against us, but he can play great. And
But also, I
17
don't
points a
think
game.
yeah, he's averaging
Yeah.
17 a game. He could be a first team All A10 guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Gilliard's probably the best defensive player in the league, and KO is probably the most improved. I don't think he's the most improved. He's
But he's
one of the most
improved,
improved
yeah.
guys. Yeah, I don't
Well,
want to play them in
I
the
think-
tournament.
One thing about Richmond is coaching.
Yeah,
Not many
it's-
people are happy with their coach.
yeah.
Well, fans are like that though. I mean, I think fans and
But
sometimes
everybody loves Mike Rhodes.
everybody does love Mike Rose.
Yeah.
Now, Mike Rose has also won 10 in a row, so it's easy to like a guy
Yeah.
that's won 10 straight
But-
games. I think that Mooney. I think there's more people. They're quiet about it. They might not be. When you dislike a coach, those fans can get really loud and obnoxious,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that make all the noise. And you might have a whole room of people that don't want to say a whole lot, but a couple guys are making noise. It seems like everybody's against him. I think at the end, I think there's a lot more people that support Chris Mooney than you might realize.
So should Chris Mooney be a little bit,
Worried about his
worried
job.
about his job?
Oh, guys, I don't know. I mean, I think every coach has to. Every coach during the year probably gets nervous all the time, and
Yeah.
it's probably not something he's really thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
I think he just,
I think-
they're going game by game. He's in the middle of the season, and if he's asked, he's like, I'll probably talk about that. But he probably does. Look, all coaches feel pressure, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
they all feel pressure. Even Tony Bennett. I mean,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Think
I mean,
about that. Tony, they're
yeah.
number 2 in the country. They're going to get a number 1 seed. They're going to win the regular season, but you don't think he's going to feel pressure that opening round game of the NCAA
Right.
tournament
Yeah,
after
especially
happened
also,
last after last
And
year?
also probably a lot of pressure. I mean, if they go back to the ACC championship and they play Duke or Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they treat the ACC tournament. I know
Yeah,
you guys talked
it'll be
about that
very
yesterday, but I think in terms of Chris Mooney, I think he's really got the nucleus of a good team. Gilliard,
Yes.
KO, Golden. It's not his fault that Sherrod got
Sherrod, yeah,
hurt.
Sherrod.
And I mean, they could have it could be a totally different looking season if
yeah,
Sherrod
it
hadn't
really
been hurt.
could.
I mean, I would love to see Richmond get out in the first round. That's just
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not
it
being
makes
biased
sense.
at all, but
Yeah.
Knox, you're a big VCU fan, so of
Yeah.
course you want to feel that way.
Yeah.
I think all of us feel that way, Knox. I'll agree with you on that one.
And honestly, it'd be nice a little bit, because I live right near U of R.
Okay.
And when I'm playing basketball with my brother, and you can tell when the game ends, it's like, oh my God, there was so much traffic, and I'm just like.
So you don't like U of R just because the traffic around your house?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we live like right there, so all the cars are coming and they're all honking near our house, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm trying to sleep. Please stop.
You're just trying to live in your house. and
Yeah,
like
we're
this
trying to be-
basketball game.
Yeah, Nerval, citizens.
Well, thank goodness you don't live near the Siegel Center. It's
Oh, yeah.
twice as many people.
Yeah,
That's
There-
me.
there- Exactly. There you go.
That used to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we all
That's
used to
true.
be.
Good
Yeah.
point.
But I've got a. What do you think about? Do you think there's any chance for George Mason to beat VCU because VCU's on the road against a good George Mason team, just because they lost a couple of games in the last 10 games, I would say, or 9 games since VCU beat them. Just because that happened doesn't mean they can't go on at home and beat us.
Well, Knox, I mean, that game should probably make every VCU fan nervous
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's senior night at George Mason, and they're going to honor a guy named Otis Livingston who has torched VCU on
Yeah.
numerous occasions. He's a really good guard. He can shoot.
He
He,
is
can penetrate.
very good.
He's
Very good.
I mean, he's a guy that
Yeah.
he's had 4 great years at George Mason. So tonight.
Is kind of-
Yes, I think it's but make no mistake about it. Like VCU knows, like this isn't a
Yeah.
trap game. The Rams are on high alert
Yeah.
tonight, but it's going to be.
Tonight's a big night for college basketball in general.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 15 versus 14. Whoever wins that game goes on to the ACC with a bye.
Oh, that's the Tech and
Yes. FSU.
the double bye game.
That'll be a
I'm
really good game.
looking forward to that game. Actually,
That'll be a good game to watch.
I'm
It's down in
thinking-
Florida State, right?
Yes.
I think, yeah,
I'm picking
so.
Florida State to win that game. Just
But,
They're very athletic.
I think one also thing about George Mason is they did get a transfer from Virginia in Jared Reuter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a good, solid.
was that?
Was about, I think, last.
He
that-
sat out last year. He had to sit out last year due to transfer rules, and now he's played all this
Yeah.
year. He's tough.
He's
he's
a
a big dude.
He's big,
He's a big
strong dude. Like
But-
he's like the size of a horse.
yeah,
People
but
look at him and think he's chubby. He's just a lot of muscle.
yeah,
you're right.
he's
Julie.
like a block. He's like a block in
Yeah,
the road.
6'7", 260.
Yeah, that's a big kid.
But yeah, I mean, George Mason. Obviously, they've had a tough schedule. Playing Kansas State, Cincinnati, and other numerous teams. But I think George Mason's a good, solid team, and it'd be interesting. I would not be surprised if they got a bid in the tournament.
In the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
George
I
Mason.
think they'd have to win the league to get
Yeah.
a bid in the NCAA tournament. But no, I think it wouldn't surprise me if they won the
Yeah.
conference tournament, if they got hot all of a sudden. And they've got another kid that like is all of a sudden starting to hit all these 3-pointers.
Pierre?
No, it's Hawthorne, who hadn't done anything until the last couple weeks, and all of a sudden he's getting off the bench and just drilling these threes.
Yeah.
And of course, the Rams know about that, but still, until you see it and play against it, it's tough to
Definitely.
defend it.
Yeah.
I think the Rams will be a prohibitive favorite going to the A-10 tournament. I think
definitely.
you win 10 in a row. No matter what happens these last two games. That said, you take them out of the equation. I think it's anybody's tournament to win.
Yes.
I think Duquesne is good. LaSalle is playing a lot better.
Yeah.
They just beat Davidson.
Yeah.
Obviously Davidson's got Kellen Grady and John Axel Goodmanson, who is probably going to be the player of the year in the league. Dayton's really good.
They're a good team. I mean, they gave UVA a challenge.
Yeah, and the second hottest team in the country right now, or
Yeah.
the conference, is St. Bonaventure.
Yeah.
They haven't lost since
Wow.
They haven't lost since we went there and beat them by 30
Yeah.
at the beginning of the month. So,
Yeah.
St. Bonaventure could all those teams.
Joe's, George Mason.
Yep.
Yeah.
They could all make a run in the A-10
Definitely.
tournament.
But they've also had some. I don't mean to take that away from
Sure.
them, but they've also had some easy games.
Yeah.
We're talking about St. Bonaventure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So St. Joe's, they beat St. Joseph's. They beat George Mason at home. They beat LaSalle, which honestly isn't a great school, but beating DeQuince by 19.
That's a good win.
Yeah, that's a good win.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
And GW by.
They beat GW by 6 at GW.
That's not.
So that's no, but I think anytime you went on the road and they've
Yeah.
won three of their
Any
6
road
games,
win.
even.
But I think
I'm looking at this. They're giving up 64 points a game.
so that's pretty
Yeah.
good,
Pretty
right?
good.
Yeah,
They're
pretty
only
defensive.
scoring 67 points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're young.
but honestly, I think a good game tomorrow night will be St. Bonaventure's at Davidson. I think that'll be a really good game to
I think
watch.
Davidson will, especially at Davidson, and
Tough environment.
yeah, it's a tough environment. They're just probably gonna start hitting threes, and they might pull it out.
Tough place for that would be tough for St. Bonaventure to win there,
Yes.
but I think they have and their coach is great. Their guy, I mean, Mark Schmidt. If you've ever been to St. Bonaventure, guys, it's in the middle of nowhere. Like it's
Yes.
like an hour and a half south of Buffalo. Like it is literally,
Yeah.
it is nowhere. And Olean is this small little town, but he gets good players to go there.
Yeah, I mean-
he's got a couple kids in the NBA, and I mean,
Yeah.
they last year they were one of the top teams in the league last year. So he's all that to say is Mark Schmidt is a really good coach. Like he can
Yeah.
flat out
That's
coach.
Were there two the A10 teams in the?
There's 3 last year.
Yeah.
There's Rhode Island, St. Bonaventure, and then Davidson won the tournament and got the 3rd bid. Yep. It was really going to be a 2-bid league.
Rhode Island, they were
Rhode
really good
Island
last year.
They're great.
Really
Rhode
good.
Island's
I thought Rhode
phenomenal.
Island-
They had
But they didn't. They lost.
Bobby Hurley's brother as a
Yep,
coach.
Danny Hurley.
Yeah. He's
And that's
great.
one thing they're struggling too. I mean, they have a new coach, so
Yeah.
they've got good talent. They just have yet to gel.
Yeah. I mean, he was a great coach, but he got the job at UConn, and I mean, UConn, big program. They've had Kevin Walker, Ray Allen go through there, and but I mean,
They've won national championships.
yeah, national championships. Shabazz Napier, but I think if he can put that team what he did to Rhode Island, man, that'll be very interesting.
They'd love
So
for him.
Rhode Island, were they a lot of their players seniors last year?
Yeah.
A good group of them. They had they
Yeah.
probably had 4 guys. I think at least 4 guys.
It'll hurt a team to lose 4 guys
Yeah.
there.
Now they had 3 guys coming back that were pretty good, but Jeff Doughton,
Yeah.
Fats Russell, and Cyril Langevine.
Yes.
But those guys, it just hasn't clicked for them. Like,
Yeah.
when we played them at the Siegel Center, Knox. I don't know if you watched that game, but like we handled them, and they were by the end of the game kind of fighting with each other. It was
What
kind of a
game?
mess. The Rhode Island game.
Rhode Island. beat
Yeah,
Shabazz.
I think that's one thing that could really bring a team's record down is bad team chemistry.
That team,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Guys, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Totally. And that's the exact opposite of what VCU has. VCU has great chemistry. That's
Yes.
why Rams are playing so well.
Yeah, I think
Isaac
that.
Van, Marcus Evans,
All those guys are
Yeah.
Santos Silva.
they all gel together. They love each other.
They're-
It's and Virginia's the same way.
Yeah,
I mean, you look
I
at all
mean-
those
I
teams.
watch it. Yeah, I watch some UVA games, and that's one reason I don't think Ty Jerome could make it into the NBA this year.
Right? One reason he might not
every
leave.
time he'll make a mistake and he'll just blame the other guys on the team. His first reaction is just
Right.
Yeah, but I think that when I've watched VCU games, I've been to a couple. I was at the Rider game, And I mean, and I also watched the Richmond game just to see how well like they connect together, and how like when someone like misses a shot or gets a foul, they're picking each other up. You need that going into a tough A10 tournament, and also going if they get into March Madness. I mean, you're really going to need that to get far, Sweet 16, Elite 8.
Guys,
but I think they got it.
Guys, I've been watching the last year's March Madness with Julie. I'm so excited for this year.
Yeah.
They're
If it's anything like last year.
Now, do you guys want to switch to?
Let's go to the SEC.
Go to the SEC.
All right.
All right. Lots of good teams.
Let's start. I'll start off with the SEC.
Okay.
That was my research topic. So, the SEC has some caliber wins, but not a ton. So we're going to start with the Auburn Tigers, who are projected to go as an 8 seed currently in the East Division, and will play UCF. Their caliber wins are against Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And, I mean, they got a good team, and Bryce Strathat leading their team with 16 points per game, and Chuma Okeke he's averaging 11.3 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.6 steals, 1.2 blocks, and is shooting 49 from the field goal line, 69% from the free throw, and 35.8 from 3-point range. But I mean, Auburn, good team. They've had a tough schedule, and they've played some good close games against Kentucky and Tennessee. But I think Auburn, they're fourth in the SEC, so I think it'd be interesting to see if fifth. I bet.
He had a 2-point loss to Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean,
Kentucky's a good team.
Kentucky's a good team, but I think it'd be interesting, how deep, how Auburn can connect and how deep that they can go in the SEC tournament.
Yes.
They only lost 2 games in the non-conference, and those 2 games were against really good teams. They lost to Duke, and then they lost NC State. And NC State's not great, but they lost at NC State. They beat Dayton by 10, and Dayton's a good basketball team that's been mentioned on the bubble.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, they've gotten some good wins in the conference as well, but not great wins. Like, you look at it, they beat Florida. That's a good win. But most of their wins in the conference, if you really take a look at it, are not against the upper echelon teams. Look at the losses. They lost to Kentucky.
Yeah.
They lost to South Carolina. They lost at LSU. They lost to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So, of all the SEC teams, I think Auburn's one that's got some work to do to convince me that they can make a run in the tournament.
Maybe a 12 seed, 11 seed.
I could see something in there. I don't know. What do our guys? What do our bracketologists have Auburn kind of ranked
Jerry
at?
Palm has them at an 8 seed.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Playing UCF.
Okay, that sounds about. What do you guys think?
Taco Fall.
I think that they're 9.
Okay,
Yeah.
8 or 9 seed.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
I can
fair.
see that.
I can also see them sliding down to a 10 seed and possibly playing Louisville. I mean,
Well, they have to go to Alabama tonight,
yes.
And then
I think they can
Tennessee.
beat that Alabama.
and then they play Tennessee on Saturday.
Well, if they
Those are
can-
two tough
If
games.
they can get close against Tennessee,
Sure.
they could definitely pull it out.
Definitely.
And Alec, you said it's been a kind of boring year for the SEC. They've got Tennessee, LSU, and Kentucky, which are 3.
Yeah, I mean, but
phenomenal
besides
teams.
besides the top ranked teams, I mean, not too much has been going on. But I mean, I think Auburn started off the year strong in the top 10 in an AP poll, but they just kind of fell off the map as when they lost to Kentucky, everything kind of went sledding downhill. But I mean, it'll be interesting to watch them.
Yeah, but they have wins against.
I don't think they
took
can-
down Gonzaga,
Yes.
number 1 Gonzaga.
Honestly, I think that they would be lucky to even go to round of 32.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you. They're not a great team to say.
You're right.
If I heard somebody say they're a top tier team that should even have an AP ranking,
Yeah.
I would, or not a ranking, an AP vote, I would argue with that.
Well, if look at it this way, guys. If they're an 8 or 9 seed, that means if they win, it's probably a coin flip on if they win that first round game. But then they have to play number 1 seed, and they're not beating Duke, they're not beating Virginia, they're not going to beat Gonzaga, and they're not going to beat like a North Carolina.
Definitely.
Honestly,
Well, especially if they play Gonzaga, Gonzaga's going to come.
Zach's going to come after them.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee beat them earlier in the year.
if they
Yeah.
Right.
if they play Duke, Duke just if Duke gets Zion. This is something that we mentioned yesterday. Duke, if
definitely.
Zion comes back, which they thought was unlikely, but I could see Zion coming back for the tournament just to get a little last.
I think Zion will be back on Saturday.
Yeah.
They played North Carolina on Saturday.
I think he wants to
They
do
know
it,
that
just
they
throw that one last
I
game.
think he could play today.
He
Is that what they said? They
Yeah.
let him
they
rest
said
one
he's
more
not,
game?
Yeah, I think they want
he's
him to-
not listed as out. So
Okay, so he might play tonight.
He might play tonight. It's a possibility. He'll probably get about, I'd say, maybe a half at the
most.
Sure.
At the most. But let's move on to Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I mean, they've had a couple quality wins in, beating Cincinnati, Clemson, and Wofford. Wofford is actually an interesting team because they're a smaller school in a smaller division.
They're
but,
ranked.
But yes, they're 22nd in the country. But I think,
could they
Mississippi
be the next Loyola Chicago?
they could be. But I think,
Mississippi.
Mississippi State, they're, I think Quinandry Weatherspoon is having a really good year as a guard, averaging 18.8 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.6 steals, and he's shooting 51% from the field goal, 82.4 from the free throw line, and 42% from the 3-point line. I mean, those are some good numbers.
They are, but I don't think it's enough to even have them at a great spot in the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm looking at CBS Sports.
They have
and
them as a 6 seed right
yeah,
now.
they do. Wow, but
That's surprising.
Well, they've won 21 games, right?
Yeah.
They're 21-8, and they had won 6 straight before they just lost at Auburn, which is a bad loss. Well, not a bad loss, but
it's a loss.
it's a loss on the road at Auburn. I don't know. I think a 6 seed. You look at their wins. I mean, they've won.
They beat Cincinnati, Clemson, and Wofford.
Yeah, I mean those are good wins. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, those are good. Those are good non-conference
They were
wins.
only
Yeah,
they only
definitely.
lost by 4 to LSU.
Yeah, LSU's a good team. We'll get there in a little bit.
But honestly, I couldn't really see them beating Houston on round of 32. At the round of 32
If that's who they have to face.
Well, again, we were talking about ODU yesterday. They're 14 seed in CBS.
I don't
and
see them beating Houston at all.
Yeah.
I don't, but it would be fun to watch. We were also talking about Radford, and it would be fun to have 3 Virginia teams in the
Definitely.
in the tournament.
All
It could be more than that. Like we could have
Norfolk.
ODU, Radford, VCU, Virginia, and Tech. Those
Oh,
are
yeah,
5 teams.
yeah.
I mean,
And
those
then
are 5
Norfolk.
teams, and then I guess Norfolk.
Yeah.
Are they?
16 seed.
Okay, so they'd have to win their tournament, the MEAC.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like they could do. It sounds like Jerry
Yes.
Palm thinks that
Yeah.
they're good enough to do that. So, I mean, you're talking 5 teams from Virginia in this field of 68 would be pretty awesome.
That'd be,
Yeah.
let's move on to the 3 bigger schools in the SEC. Let's start with the Kentucky Wildcats. Wow, what a season. I mean, they've had a kind of an up and down
They beat
season
UNC.
with, they've had, their caliber wins are Tennessee, Kansas, Louisville, and UNC. It always really from, their caliber wins. It shows that they can go into a top place and win. But I feel
I
like
took that win, a big win against Louisville, who's
definitely.
I think a kind of underrated team.
Yes.
UVA barely snuck by them.
But I think, PJ Washington's really doing a lot for this team right now. He's averaging 15 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.1 block, and he's shooting 52% from the field goal range, and he's shooting 44% from 3-point as a forward. That's kind of interesting.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
That is an amazing stat.
I think, Kentucky, they're projected to go. Kentucky's projected to go as a 2 seed in the South with Louisville, and they're projected to play Loyola Chicago. I think they have a real shot at winning winning the SEC. But I think in the end, I think it's Tennessee, just because of Adam Schofield and Grant Williams.
I could even see LSU making it,
Yeah.
which we're about to talk about.
Yeah, but I mean, they did beat. They did beat Tennessee at Kentucky, but Tennessee held them to, I think, a season low in points.
52.
52. I mean, wow. But I think this Kentucky team has good talent, but not as the best talent that we've seen in the past.
Yes, I agree. I could see them going even to Elite Eight is a little far, but
Sweet 16, Elite Eight,
Sweet
yeah,
16, Elite
definitely.
8. I don't see them going to the finals. I don't really see them going to a Final Four.
Yeah.
They're not the best team, but again, they and CBS they have them playing Loyola, and
Loyola, we all
last
know what
year,
happened last year.
Last year they made it to the Final Four, but
Yep.
Loyola lost their seniors.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky's going to be always going to be in the mix because they're so talented. I mean,
Yeah.
Calipari just recruits super talented
Yeah.
guys, and you go to North Carolina and Louisville in back-to-back games and win.
Wow.
There's something
There's
good
something
going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Now and then you get into conference guys, and a lot of times you just start getting beaten up in conference.
Definitely.
You teams. You're Kentucky, so every game when Kentucky plays you is a big game. Like
Yeah.
Everybody wants to.
everybody wants to beat you, Julie. Bullseye's always on your
It's-
back if you're Kentucky.
it's
So you're going to
Kentucky.
have those games, and if you don't play
You know,
great, yeah,
and,
exactly.
I think for for Kentucky, it was like when they went in the beat Tennessee was like this team's really got something, and then I thought that they went a little bit in kind of like yeah we already beat them, let's just get it for the seeding, but they lost that game by a lot. I mean,
Tennessee.
19
Tennessee.
points.
Yeah,
Now they
at the
had
Summit.
a couple weeks earlier they'd beaten them by 17 at
Yeah.
Rupp Arena.
But I mean, also they did lose to LSU barely. That was a great game to watch.
Great game. Could have been. The call at the end was.
A little,
That ball may have been in the cylinder, may not have been in the cylinder.
Definitely.
I mean, Knox, you're ragging on Kentucky a little bit, but they had won before they lost to Tennessee. They'd won like 14 to 15 games. I mean,
Yeah.
the SEC, that's pretty good.
yeah.
Yes.
It probably, and guys, you know this. It probably has to depend on matchups too. Like, what are their matchups in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
Is it matchups that work well for them, or is it a matchup against a team that matches up well against Kentucky and they can?
yeah.
That's what
Or
makes the
that
NCAA
has
tournament.
something on them.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what makes the NCAA tournament so awesome. Is that it's just sometimes a team that you don't think can beat another team just match it, like Virginia and UNBC. That was a bad matchup for Virginia.
Oh yeah.
And as it turns out, they got the W because the matchup was so bad. And that was a 1 versus 16.
Yeah. Let's
And
move.
Duke,
Yeah.
they've lost.
Yeah,
They
Duke
lost
is
to
the
Lehigh
Mercer and Lehigh, and
Yeah.
they lost to the Rams back when you were probably like 2 years old.
The
And
Duke alumni. That's
exactly.
What they call it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move on now to the Tennessee Volunteers. Wow, what a team! I mean, you have Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, Jordan Bone on a team, and I mean, I watched the replay, watched the game on YouTube of the Tennessee-Kentucky game. They went under 5 seconds on offense one time the whole game.
Wow. So they shoot it quickly.
They like to what they like to do is they like to get a one-on-one ISO with Grant Williams or Admiral Schofield, take it down the lane, pass it back out, get a layup or a 3-pointer, and then they play really tough D. And when you have a team like that that can play offense and tough D, I mean, you can go anywhere.
Yes.
But one thing that they've got to improve on is giving up points. They're
Yeah.
tied for 71st.
It's a lot. That's a lot of points.
And that's-
The defense
that's-
wins, man, especially in the
wins, yeah.
You've
tournament.
got to
Gave
score a lot of points if you're going to give that many up.
Yeah.
Gave up 86 to Kentucky in the loss at Rupp. They gave up 82 to LSU. When they lose, they give up a lot
Yeah.
of points. They don't lose a lot, right? I mean, guys, they don't lose a
Right.
lot. But
Yes.
when they
Yeah.
lost to Kansas earlier in the year, they gave up 87. So in every loss, they've given up 80 points, which
Yeah.
tells me that their defense has got
And
some inefficiencies.
Memphis going in against them and scoring 92
Definitely.
in the first part of the season. But again, they beat Gonzaga, one of my favorite, which I think
Yeah.
might win the tournament. They're a good team.
Yeah.
Lost to Kansas by 6. That's not a
They
bad
gave up
loss.
81 to Louisville.
But I mean,
At
yeah,
home.
they also beat Kentucky, which is
They lost to Kentucky.
yeah, but they also split that. But I think this team could easily win the SEC with Kentucky or LSU.
Yes.
So speaking of LSU, let's move on to LSU. LSU has definitely seen an uprise. They have a great team. They have a great coach in Will Wade, but he's kind of in a little trouble right now for the recruiting stuff. But I mean, wow! You have Tremont Waters averaging 15.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 3 steals. I mean, and you also have Naz Reid averaging 13.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 2.6 turnovers. But they're shooting very weak from the 3-point percentage. but they really like to get outside to the big men, or also just get it out there.
You can't forget about their. This is amazing, guys. 228th in the country for points allowed. I mean,
So they're giving up a ton.
Yeah, they're giving up a lot of points.
73 points a game.
But
they're also scoring so many.
81 points.
And they're first in the SEC, and their big two wins are against Kentucky and Tennessee. So that's why
Tennessee's first in the.
They're tied.
Or tied first, I guess.
But when it all goes down, LSU will win the SEC just because of the head-to-head matchup. That because they won against Tennessee and Kentucky. So I think LSU, projected to be a 2 seed. I mean, they're a great team.
I think I think they got to be a 2 seed. I mean,
Definitely.
if you're going to win the SEC regular season this year when you've got 4 or 5 other really good teams.
Yeah.
You credit Will. I mean, he has turned that program around, and now
Definitely.
they're one of the best teams in the country. And
Yeah.
it only took them a year to do it.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it'll be interesting over the next 3 years just to see if they can win a national title.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
that will be. He'll get the talent there. That's for sure. He will
All right.
absolutely get the talent there.
Yeah, let's.
So who do you guys think wins the SEC tournament? Knox, what you got?
I've got my bets on Tennessee.
So you have Tennessee. Julie, SEC tournament champ. Who do you think?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Kentucky.
Kentucky. All right, Alec, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Tennessee just because they got.
But where is it? Does anybody?
It's in.
Is it Nashville?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's in Tennessee. That's
It is. That would be a little home court advantage. I think that might give me reason to pick Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's in Tennessee, they'll have a sizable. Now, that being said, Kentucky fans travel anywhere.
Right.
A Kentucky-Tennessee final would be a lot of fun to watch.
That'd be a great game just to
It
watch.
would be, wouldn't it?
Or also you have Kentucky LSU or LSU Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both really good
Yes.
games.
Yep.
I'm just thinking, like they're always a team that you can pick and be a very reliable pick.
Yeah. You
Like-
can never go wrong with Kentucky.
Right.
If they lose, it's an upset, and you can't be embarrassed about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Big 12. The Big 12 has been a very interesting conference this year just because they have so many people tied for first place in Texas Tech, Kansas, and Kansas State. But I mean, the Big 12's, I think, one of the stronger conferences for basketball over the past couple of years. But let's start it off with Texas. They're projected there as a bubble team, but as a bubble 12 team. Their big wins are against a good Purdue team, Kansas State and Kansas. They have some those are good caliber quad wins, but honestly, I don't know how far they can make it in this.
they also. What I'm looking at is they beat UNC.
Yeah,
They beat them by 3, which is amazing.
yeah.
But then they lost 3 in a row against great Michigan State, Radford,
and
and
VCU.
VCU. So,
Yeah.
but most
Then they took down Purdue. Purdue's a pretty good team.
Yeah, Purdue is a good team.
Purdue's a great team. Guys,
Yeah.
I think they have enough quality wins. to
Yeah,
get
I
in.
agree with
Yeah, I think they have enough
I
quality.
think
wins to
at
get
the
it.
end of the day, the Big 12 is going to be good enough.
Oklahoma,
You beat North
Kansas.
Carolina, Kansas, Purdue.
Kansas State.
They've had a amazingly hard schedule.
Yes,
for
definitely.
and they're 16 and 14.
Yeah.
They are 16 and 14.
So I mean, if they could, finish out the season, obviously they lost a tough night against their rivals at Texas Tech and Lubbock. But
that's at Texas.
They probably have to win on Saturday, or they play. Yeah, they have to win on Saturday against TCU.
yeah,
It's a home game. They should win that. And my guess is they at least have to win 1, maybe 2 games in their tournament.
yeah,
Probably 1. 2 probably solidifies them.
yeah.
Yes.
And as a Ram fan, Knox, we want them to win because it
Yes,
makes our win
yes,
against
it
them
makes-
looks better. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
It won't. I don't think it'll come down between
I-
VCU and Texas in terms of picking. And if it does, then they'll pick us because we beat them.
Yeah, head-to-head matchup. So Kevin Roach II is kind of doing the heavy lifting for the team, averaging 15 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1.3 steals. He's shooting 43.7% from the field. 74% from the line, and 34% from the three-point line. 34% from the three-point line is not great. I think if he doesn't go to the NBA, I think one big thing is for him just to work on that 3-point shot. I mean, it's a good shot, but he just got to bring up that percentage a little bit more.
Yes. But I think that they make it because they are a great team. We can't undercut them.
Yeah, we can't deny that. I mean, they have quad wins.
CBS has first one out.
Yeah.
They have that as the first one out. Texas.
That would make me nervous if I'm Texas. That's why I think they have to win a little bit. I think they have to win. They've got some more wins that they have to do.
Definitely.
But they're still not a bad team.
No.
Now, Iowa State?
Let's actually move on to the TCU Horned Frogs. Wow, it's been a kind of a interesting year for them. They're 18-12, 8th in the Big 12. But they have they do have a couple quality wins against Iowa State and Texas. Iowa State's probably their most creditable win. But I mean,
they beat Iowa State twice.
Yeah, they did. But
I don't see them making.
They're doing a lot of scoring off the board. I mean, they have Desmond Bain, Kauti Noai, Alex Robinson, Jalen Fisher, and J.D. Miller, all above 10 points per game, which is a good number. And they're shooting really well from the free throw line. But I think for them, it's how far can TCU get in the tough Big 12 conference.
But I'm sorry, they're a great team. I'm not going to undercut them, but they're just.
I don't think they can get through their conference.
Yeah, they're
I don't
projected.
think they can get through their conference.
Yeah.
They got to get through their conference.
Yeah, they definitely got to get through the conference, but they are projected as an 11 seed. So I don't know how we feel they're projected as 11 seed.
I think it's all up to the guys on that Sunday, but I think I just don't see them good. They're just not good enough, in my opinion.
Well, that'll be an interesting conversation. You take a TCU team that has a bad record and they've got some good wins. I mean, there's no doubt they've won some games. Or do you take a mid-major team that could be like a Dayton, or I'm sure there's other mid-major teams like a St. Mary's that has a much better record, but doesn't have the schedule that TCU has and doesn't have the wins on their resume. That's going to be the big conversation you guys watch as we come down the stretch here, and even into Selection Sunday. There'll be a lot of teams like TCU or Indiana that their record isn't going to be anything to throw a party about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they'll have some wins, and their net ranking will be higher than some of these other teams, and it'll be discussion on who do you choose? You choose St. Mary's, or you choose TCU?
Definitely. Yes. So let's move on to tied for first place in the Big 12 in the Kansas State Wildcats. They got a great, they've really turned around the program over there. They have Barry Brown and Dean Wade. They're doing a great job over there. Their caliber wins right now are Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas. Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas. Those are their big caliber wins. I mean, they're all good teams. They've all, Kansas and Texas Tech have been in there the rankings the whole time. Iowa State's kind of an in-and-out team, but they have a good program. So they got. I think they're a good team.
I see as many as 5 teams in the Big 12 making the tournament.
Yeah, they're projected.
4 or 5.
Yeah, they're projected to go as a 4 seed currently.
No. 4 or 5 in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I can see 4 making it.
Yeah, but they're projected as a 4 seed
I see
against
Texas,
UC Irvine.
Kansas, K-State, and Texas Tech making it.
Definitely.
Texas, Kansas, K-State, and Texas. Say no to Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor's 10-6 and 19-10. I mean, their record is better than Texas, and they just beat Texas.
Yeah. And they also beat Texas Tech.
Iowa State's won 20 games. Mm-hmm. Tough to keep a team.
I could say 6, 5, or 4. I mean, I would not be complaining if they had 6 teams in the tournament.
Definitely. They got. I think Kansas State probably end up playing. Texas Tech in the championship, just because they're producing a lot and they've really come together as a team and really bonded over the season. They had a little bit of a rough start, but now they're on a smooth patch once they got into Big 12 play. So I think that this is a good team, and I think the future is really bright for the program.
Texas Tech,
Kansas State.
Oh, Kansas State. Yeah.
No.
That guy's a good coach.
Yeah. Now let's move on to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
One thing I'm noticing when I look at Texas Tech is they're a streaky team.
Yes.
Oh yes.
They
definitely. They have wins against Kansas.
like their first 10 games they won, and then they lost, and then they won their next 5,
Yeah, and then they won like
and then they
seven,
lost 3,
Oh.
and then they've won.
7 in a row, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's 8
8
now.
in a
If they
row.
win
Yeah.
the next night. They walloped Texas last night.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
70 to 51.
I mean, Texas Tech is a team. Probably it's a. You watch. I bet they're going to be a popular dark horse pick for the Final Four. Like
Texas
I
Tech, yeah,
could see
definitely.
people's brackets being like Virginia, Duke, Gonzaga, Texas Tech. Like
Definitely.
trying to figure out that fourth team.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest, I don't think that Duke's. Oh, wait, no, Zion's back. Never mind.
Zion's back.
Yeah.
It's tough to beat Duke and Zion.
I don't think Duke will make it to the Final Four.
You don't.
I don't.
Really?
Honestly,
Okay.
I think
Think-
this is my Final Four currently. Is
They
You
could.
finish it.
They need Cam Reddish to step up.
Yeah.
Do that. But I think Tech. I mean, you kind of go back to Texas Tech, and I mean, I think because you're always, you want that dark horse seed, and I think because
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
Tech. Where they predict Tech, like a 2 seed right now.
Yes,
Tech?
they're predicting-
No,
Three
3
seed.
So 3 seed.
against Georgia Southern.
Wow. I think they move up to a 2 seed. Like
Okay, so you guys want to put the conversation open to who wins the conference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who Knox? Who do you think wins the Big 12 tournament?
I mean, this might be a surprise to you guys, but I know West Virginia has had a really rough year, but this is crazy, but I could see them
Don't say
going.
it. Don't say it.
I could see them going to the finals,
This is
but
why podcasting is great, Knox, because you can say whatever you want, and like if they make it to the finals, then you'll look like brilliant. And if
Yeah.
not, no one will pay attention to you.
yeah, but also either West Virginia or Texas Tech or Kansas State. My pick would be Kansas State.
So Knox, you're thinking an 11 and 18 West Virginia team is going to make it to the Big 12 finals. You're
Yeah.
they're going to make like a
This is
miraculous
crazy.
run.
This is crazy.
Bob Huggins is going to just
Yes.
he's gonna turn his team around.
they're just
They've
going
been
to turn it
trashed.
on.
They've been
Hasn't
trashed,
gotten off his chair all
but
day.
if you look at them, they're just not a bad team. They've got some good players, but they have like chemistry. If anybody has watched their games, which I'm sure you guys haven't, but and they do have. We didn't
It's a
even,
gutsy call, Knox.
yeah, we didn't even mention them in this segment.
Yeah.
They're 3 and 13 in the
Yeah.
league. They've lost 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 and 18 total.
It's not that long of a segment. Julie, who do you think?
I'm gonna go with Kansas.
Ooh.
Not West
interesting
West
pick.
Virginia.
Wow.
I'm gonna.
I'm gonna go with Kansas.
That's it. I'm gonna go. My finals is I'm gonna go with Texas Tech and Kansas, but I just think Texas gets it done with Jared Culver.
And where is it? Does anybody know?
It's in Kansas City, Missouri.
So yeah, Kansas would get a little bit of a home field.
I think
They always do.
I still think West Virginia.
I'm gonna.
might.
I
I'm
just
gonna,
don't see. I remember last year, West Virginia was a pretty good defensive
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
They had that press.
West Virginia.
I mean,
Yeah, and now they're just really stinking it up on
yes,
defense.
but
Yeah.
I still
Knox
think
is holding to it. Like he's doubling down.
yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna put money on it.
Hey, I'll take that money there, Knox. Let's go up by
Yeah,
a sandwich.
I'm gonna make my case for Texas Tech because they got the #1 defense.
I mean, in the office, Kevin says if there's ever 10,000 to 1 odds,
You take it.
Take it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with Texas Tech just because they got Jared Culver averaging 18 points, 6.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists. They got Matt Mooney, David Moretti, and Tariq Owens. I mean, they got it going on over there. So I think Texas Tech wins.
I think you're right, Alex. I think Texas Tech beats Kansas. I think
Yeah.
Kansas is going to play inspired. Knox, I cannot jump on your West Virginia 11 and 18 bandwagon. It's a hard
hard
sell.
one to get
It's a
onto.
hard sell there,
Yeah.
Knox. Although if they make it, I will remember this podcast.
Yeah.
You gotta come up with some crazy stats to back
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So-
I mean, I don't have any stats, but
Just your gut. Your gut's telling
Yeah.
you this 11 and 18 team is going to
I
turn
mean,
it around.
I looked at
Sure.
this wasn't my division. This was Alex's, so I haven't really studied it. But I look at this and I saw West Virginia at the bottom, and I was like,
Yeah.
Is that right?
All right, so let's go to our last and final segment.
American.
Oh yes, the
There's
American.
actually two sections.
My
My
bad.
favorite.
Yeah. Julie.
Julie, do you want to talk about UCF just because
UCF.
you love UCF?
I love UCF. It pulled me in. Tacos got me. I love watching him. I like watching UCF. I think they're actually a pretty good team. And they just had that big win against Houston.
Yeah, they did.
Their notable
And-
wins are Houston,
Yeah,
Alabama.
and it was at Houston, so it was an away game for him.
And it was a college game day.
They beat UConn, who's still like
Terrible.
okay.
They
I
don't
just
really
don't
have
think
many.
that they've played. They haven't played very many quality games.
Yes.
They just haven't had that many. They
And-
haven't played many hard teams.
CBS has them as a 9 seed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
In
thick
the
pitch
East,
for them.
Or 9 or 8 seed, you know.
well, it really doesn't matter. But against Auburn, and even if they win that game, unless Virginia pulls another UMBC, the guy, Alex and Julie don't like me saying that.
Come
but,
on, Knox,
um,
man. Come on, man.
But if they do, then I could see UCF making it to Sweet 16. But other than that, I don't see them making
Yeah.
it far.
I think also if UCF beats Cincinnati and Temple,
Yeah.
I think they could slide up to maybe a 7 seed.
Yeah. Don't forget about Tulane. I mean, what a great program. They're 0-6 seed in conference play, and they're 4-24.
I think
Gotta watch out for them.
I think
Yeah.
they could definitely
Make a run
in
for
the
it.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But now let's go to Temple. So Temple has some notable wins. They did lose to VCU, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But they beat Houston, if I'm right.
Yeah.
They did, yes.
They're the only team for a while to beat Houston.
Yes.
Yeah, and then UCF, of course.
And then UCF.
Yeah, before
beat
UCF
them.
did it.
But they lost to UCF. They lost to Villanova. They lost to VCU. And on that, I was watching that game, and Temple was in it until the end.
Well, VCU got off to a big lead in that game.
Yes,
and
it was like
remember
19-0.
Yeah, I think they were like 19-zip, and then Temple came all the way back.
They started hitting threes, and then
Yep.
with about 1 minute left, I'm pretty sure we called a timeout, and we were down by like 1 or 2, and all of a sudden, Marcus Evans started.
Yeah, Marcus
shooting.
had, Marcus kind of took over that game.
Yes,
Yeah.
but yeah. So
I mean,
now there's nothing really more
So,
to talk about.
who do you think?
Talk about
No,
Houston.
Cincinnati now. Cincinnati is 20th in the country.
Yeah.
They don't have many solid wins, but they beat Temple. They beat even though they don't have solid wins, they're still in a really hard conference, the American Conference, with 3 ranked teams, which they're one of them. But still, they're 14-2, tied with Houston. So let's go over to Houston.
Houston, it's a team that we haven't really seen
Much of
that great since that year, way back when they lost.
Hakeem and they had like Hakeem
Olajuwon.
and Clyde Drexler.
Yeah,
I would-
and they lost in the Final Four, I
Against
think,
NC.
to NC State.
Yeah, then we lost the championship to NC State
I've
because
seen
of,
that replay a couple times.
I would
because
put
of Weir.
my money, if I had to bet on this, I would put my money on actually, I don't think I could bet on this one, but I would put my money on UCF just because they've got Taco. Taco is a great free throw, but Taco's tall. He's the tallest in the.
He's a big taco.
He is.
He's the
Almost like a burrito.
Gosh, he's the biggest guy on in the whole NCAA,
Yeah,
And
definitely.
he's 7'6". I've seen him get rebounds. He holds it above his head.
and I've seen
Yeah.
him
He's
barely
like a
jump
4-year-old, and
and
they try to get the ball.
Yeah. So I think for me, I think UCF wins this American Conference.
Wow, that's a gutsy pick right there for a team that's
Yeah.
12-4. What about you?
UCF.
You go UCF? You
I
gonna go
like
take the
UCF,
taco there?
I'm gonna go with Houston.
I think Cincinnati's going to win.
It's a good pick.
I like the Bearcats have won 5 straight. They're playing good basketball coming in. They've won 25 games. They're 14-2 in the league. I like Cincinnati. They're a good coach. Nick Cronin's a great coach.
Yeah.
Lots of basketball tradition.
Yes.
I think Cincinnati's my pick to win the
But
tournament.
I wanted to
Lots of
mention-
teams in this league going to the NCAAs, right?
Yeah,
I guess at
definitely.
least Houston. Well, Houston, Cincinnati, and Central Florida 3, and they think Temple's on the bubble.
Yeah,
Maybe
Temple's on
have
the
you seen
bubble.
Temple on the bubble? Yep.
I think Temple will make it.
And I think Memphis.
He's got a great record.
Tubby
Memphis
Smith,
is-
Tubby Smith, the former VCU
Yes.
assistant coach. He's carved out a pretty good year. They're 18-12.
Yes, but I wanted to mention one last thing before we go to upsets in the March Madness. But Cincinnati, the last game of the year, Cincinnati plays Houston at Cincinnati. I think whoever wins that game
Is that it? Is that the last game of the year? That's a great last game.
That'll be interesting. But now I'm leading this segment,
Okay.
upsets and March Madness. So
We're picking our.
So how are we doing this?
So basically, what we're gonna do is Alex and I have been searching up like teams that have beaten like teams like a couple of years ago, Florida, Central Florida, I believe it was, or no, UGCF.
Oh, Florida Gulf Coast.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Man.
They were a 14 seed, 15 seed, and made it to the Sweet 16. Which
Yeah.
they were the first team
Florida.
who made it to the Sweet 16 that was over 14.
Yeah.
And then just last year, Loyola
Yeah,
made
Loyola
it
Chicago.
Final Four, right?
And we were watching this earlier. They played Miami in the first game, and if they didn't hit that buzzer beater, they wouldn't have made anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
their
really
second
good, man.
game with like 5 seconds left.
Yes.
He had
So you guys are
Yeah.
picking kind of your dark horses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like who you think could make a run that
I
you don't
think-
know about?
I think Syracuse could make a run, even though they're 8 and have to play Tennessee. Syracuse is a great team, as we saw last night, but they just kind of wore out. Louisville could make a run. I think
Colgate.
Colgate.
I'm not picking it, but I like their name.
Yeah.
Brush my teeth with
There you
them.
go. There you go.
Belmont could beat Maryland, which I don't like saying because Maryland's like my third favorite team.
New
Yeah.
Mexico State. They're
They're always-
usually a
Pretty
team
good
that I
team.
picked to win.
I mean,
Yeah.
Not at all, but
If I tell you what, if Murray State makes it in, they've got one of the best.
John
players.
Morant.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's
God.
really good.
he's
so,
a fun kid to watch.
Yeah,
Is
so I
he-
mean,
are they
I think you
Murray
could.
State? Is
Yeah.
Murray State?
They've got to win their tournament, but if I think they're in the OVC, if I'm not right
Yeah.
about that. But they would be someone in Wofford, like you guys talked about it. Wofford is
What were-
really good.
They're projected to go as an 8 seed against Ole Miss in the South Africa.
That's a tough draw for Wofford. They'd probably
Yeah.
rather be like a 10 seed or an 11 seed,
Yeah,
play a
that's-
5 seed, and then you can kind of go from there. 'Cause
Yeah.
They'll have to play a 1 if they are an 8 or
think
9.
I'm kind of biased, but I think that if VCU played, if they got to a 11 seed or lost first round or the first round that they played because they've already locked down the A10, the first place A10 for regular
Yeah.
season. So I think if they lose the first round, they would be a good team.
Yeah.
Vermont, they play Marquette. Marquette just got upset. So
I think my dark horse going into this tournament is Michigan State. Great program, Tom Izzo.
I wouldn't
But-
call them a dark horse.
Well, you said Syracuse was a dark horse. They're a great
They're
program
an 8
too.
seed. Though.
Yeah, but I think just because not Michigan State, not a lot of people are talking about Michigan State this year. They're kind of forgotten behind Kentucky, Carolina, Duke, Virginia, and Tennessee. So I think Michigan State can make a run for their money.
I think any Virginia Cavalier fan would not want to play Michigan State in the
Def-
tournament, right?
definitely,
I do not like-
definitely.
Stay
I
away
do not
from
like
Tom Izzo
Tom
and Michigan
Izzo.
State.
Actually, I
One
want.
dark horse I like is Minnesota.
Yeah, they
Minnesota.
got to make it in
Eleven
though, right? They
seed.
got some work to do.
Yeah,
We were
But they're
talking.
a pretty good team, and if they win,
They can
they'll
upset
probably
both.
take on
A
Texas
big,
Tech.
sure, they're big. Anytime you have those big time programs in a lower seed or a higher seed,
Yes.
they can.
yeah.
We were also talking about Kansas State, but I could see them losing first round against UC Urban. UC,
The Anteaters.
yeah,
Yeah.
That guy, they've got a good coach. Their coach is one of the better coaches in the country.
They have been in the tournament the last 4 years, 5
Yeah.
years.
Yep.
And they've pulled up a few upset Utah State. I just don't see them. They could win against Baylor and then lose against Gonzaga, so I don't see them making it far. But other than that,
Yeah.
And another team that I think could go kind of far is Alabama.
Definitely.
Yes.
All these teams, yeah.
They've got,
They got a great,
yeah.
last year there was 2
And
upsets.
they'd be great if they hadn't, if Braxton Key hadn't transferred out.
They'd
Yes.
give them some scoring pop.
Yeah. So who's your dark horse in this?
My dark horse, I think, I would probably say, let's say Wofford.
Wofford?
Even though they're probably going to get an 8 or 9 seed, which sets them up to play number 1 seed.
Yeah.
I would not want to play Wofford at all. So I think Wofford would be my dark horse. And if you had made me pick a second one, probably someone like maybe a St. Mary's. They're always tough. I mean, they're well coached, and they play in a tough conference. Or they've had to play Gonzaga a couple times. So Wofford or St. Mary's. I think those teams. It's tough though to pick them until you see who gets in. Like you said, Minnesota. Minnesota might not even get in.
Yeah.
And if Texas gets in, I wouldn't put it past Shaka to do some magic and make a run there. He's done it before.
Maybe
Yes,
play some
but also
regular defense.
Yeah.
But also, last year we saw in the same bracket South that 11 and 14 won. Alabama and Montana, which I wouldn't put it past Montana to beat Purdue.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy upset, but that's just what happens in March.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
And if Loyola Chicago's in, we all want them to win,
Sister
right?
Jean,
Yeah.
go back and
They're
Sister Jean.
15 against Kentucky right now.
Yeah.
Which
So
I think they might need to.
I think that's it for the podcast today. Thank you so much for coming on our
Guys,
podcast.
it was fun. It was great.
Really
I
means a
enjoyed
lot.
it.
And make sure to tune in tonight to the VCU George Mason game at 7:30. And we'll be back soon.
I know there's a lot of games tonight, but that'll be a good
Well,
one.
We expect you to listen.
And,
all you three of you.
Enjoy the game. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.